Through your generosity, the annual Catholic Appeal continues to serve our community.
I'm Judy Williams. At New Direction, we offer peer counseling, educational support, free pregnancy tests, limited ultrasound, as well as baby clothes, diapers, formula, and more, all made possible by the annual Catholic Appeal.
The annual Catholic Appeal, assisting our neighbors here in Western Massachusetts. Visit diospringfield.org and make your donation today. Thank you for your support.
Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
I'm Steve Kiltonic here in Waterloo, where I'll have the story of repairs that is reviving an old classic Christmas tradition, wreath-making.
The Year of Mercy comes to a close. And travel with us to the shrine of Our Lady of Guadalupe in Mexico City in the first of a three-part series on Catholic Communications pilgrimage to Mexico. These stories and more are just ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel today from Our Lady of Guadalupe Church in Holyoke. Our Lady of Guadalupe, whose feast day is coming up on December 12th, is the title of the Blessed Virgin Mary associated with the beautiful venerated image that is enshrined in the minor basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe in Mexico City. The basilica is the most visited Catholic pilgrimage site in the world and the world's third most visited sacred site. This past October, Father Gary Daly, director of the Newman Catholic Center at UMass, led a Catholic Communications-sponsored group of pilgrims to Mexico, where they were able to visit this holy site. Videographer Sean Manning now brings us part one, featuring the history of Juan Diego and the miraculous image of Our Lady of Guadalupe, in the first of a three-part series of video essays featuring the faith, beauty, and history of Mexico, our neighbor to the south.
Hello, I'm Father Gary Daly, and I want to welcome you all to Mexico. Bienvenido de Mexico, on our pilgrimage here to Mexico and to particularly the Shrine of Our Lady of Guadalupe. The Mexican culture and history is rich and long, with some human artifacts dating back 10,000 plus years. Mexico is well noted for the Aztecs and the Mayans. The Aztecs were noted for practicing human sacrifice and worshiping false gods. The Mayans also worshiped their gods and built many of their temples and palaces in a stepped pyramid shape, decorating them with elaborate reliefs and inscriptions. Mexico is 82% Catholic, and many say they are 100% Guadalupe, meaning that even for those who are not Catholic, the Virgin of Guadalupe plays a special part in their life as Mexicans. The majority of Mexicans are classified as mestizos, and it's precisely in those features that Our Lady of Guadalupe appeared, a mestiza woman, a blend of both the Indian and Spanish characteristics. On the first day, we arrived after a long trip from New York here to Mexico City, and upon our arrival, we were greeted with beautiful weather in the mid-70s and traveled directly to our hotel where we relaxed a bit. And finally, after our relaxation, we went around the corner to this beautiful church, the Church of the Holy Infant of Jesus. There we celebrated Mass in a beautiful chapel in the basement of the church, which was also a crypt. During the time of political and social change in the world, we noticed that in areas of the world like Mexico, we saw that movie on the way down to the airport today, showing how the political change here in Mexico in the early 20s and the Cristeros are trying to bring the Catholic faith back when they were being persecuted and priests dying and being hung and shot, as we saw, and many martyrs happened during that time. But also places around the world, in Poland, for instance, where there's communist rule, or in Vietnam. All these places in the world that have this oppression, the faith was nourished, the faith was blossoming, and people in many ways underground or in private or in seclusion would gather for Mass and pray in these parts of the world. And so we were there for the celebration of the Eucharist for St. Teresa of Avila, and finally after Mass we returned to our hotel for a nice welcome dinner. And that was the conclusion of our first day here in Mexico. Day 2, Mexico, we directly left the hotel and went to the place where Saint Juan Diego was baptized. We saw the ancient city there, some ruins date back to pre-15th century, and we visited the church where Juan Diego was baptized and the church in which he attended, but also the place where he went to school as a little boy. Juan Diego was baptized later in life, in his 40s, and it's also the place where he met Bishop Zumarraga after his visit with Our Lady, and that apparition. Our Lady of Guadalupe asked him to go to the bishop, and this is exactly, this building that you see here is exactly where the bishop greeted him and where he dropped the Castilian roses before the bishop, and the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe appeared on his tilma. And so finally, after that visit there, we went directly to the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe. It was a very short visit there. We saw a few things, but we celebrated Mass in a small chapel on the second floor of the Basilica while Mass was going on behind us. And it's really a gospel about persistence in prayer, but the word persistent is very important. And I think it's really fascinating that we have this gospel today because we learn of Juan Diego, who was persistent because Our Lady made him go back and go back and go back to Bishop Zumarraga to convince him that this is exactly what she wanted here at Tepeyac, to build this church in her honor under the title of Our Lady of Guadalupe. After a 30-minute ride from the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe, we arrived at the place of the pyramids, some of the ancient ruins that dated 100 years before Christ. And upon our arrival there, we were greeted by some family members who create beautiful stonework and explain to us about plants.
Pulque is the name. It's a very popular drink, very soft drink, for only 4 or 5% of alcohol. It's nothing for Mexican people.
But then we had a very lovely lunch together and some traditional music that was being played for us. We enjoyed our time together there, had a little bit of margaritas and some other local drinks so that people could taste, and we enjoyed our camaraderie and our preparing for our walk to the pyramids. Behind me you can see one of the pyramids, the Pyramid of the Sun. It's kind of interesting that we come to Our Lady of Guadalupe, which is such a beautiful Catholic site, and we come to an area like this which is really pagan, where the early people here of Mexico, the Aztecs and the Mayans, would be very much in tune with sun god and sun moon and all of the various gods that they worshipped at that time. But the history here is very rich. The years dating before Christ, in which many of these ruins that we see now are built in these pyramids. So it's very lovely here. The tourists are enjoying their stay here and among the pyramids, and so we hope that this will be a lasting impression for them for a very long time. Well, I hope you enjoyed our little journey through Mexico today and look forward to our next segment, and hope you will join us to see more of Mexico.
And we will continue our pilgrimage to Mexico next week. By the way, if you'd like to travel with Father Gary Daly and Springfield Bishop Mitchell Rosansky to Portugal, Spain, and France next July, there are still seats available. For more information, check out our link that we have on iobserve.org, or we can send you information in the mail. Just call 413-732-3175. That's 413-732-3175. Well, November 20th marked the end of the Year of Mercy. Around the world, holy doors were closed and the special graces for visiting them ended. It's not a time to be sorrowful, though, because as Pope Francis reminds us, the message that God's mercy extends to every person continues. It's a message that Bishop Rosansky also passed along as the holy door at St. Michael's Cathedral closed. Kathy Harrington has our story.
The Feast of Christ the King marked the end of the extraordinary Jubilee Year of Mercy. In Rome, more than 20 million people walked through the Jubilee door of St. Peter's Basilica.
Pope Francis declared this year, because he knew that this world truly needs to be aware of the mercy that God pours out upon us.
And for the first time, thanks to a decree from Pope Francis, holy doors were opened around the world so that people could pass through and the truly repentant would have their sins wiped clean. 9 holy doors in western Massachusetts welcomed pilgrims. Presiding over Mass at St. Michael's Cathedral, Bishop Mitchell Rosansky told parishioners that the Year of Mercy was a reminder that God's arms are always open to us. He and the priest of the diocese agree that this holy year drew many people to confession for the first time in years.
Different instances during the year of listening to confessions have really touched my heart, and how God's people have felt reconciled and made whole by that sacrament of confession.
For Bishop Rosansky, one of the most memorable events of the year was the Diocesan Pilgrimage Day at Camp Holy Cross.
I also particularly felt great joy in celebrating the Jubilee Year of Mercy in September, as we did at Camp Holy Cross, and to hear the different speakers that were there, and to also witness the number of people that had come out to that was just so inspiring and so touching.
This day has special meaning for Bishop Rosansky. It is also the anniversary of his first Mass as a priest.
As we end this year, first of all, particularly poignant to me is the Feast of Christ the King, the Mass we celebrate. That was the first Mass I celebrated as a priest, so I always feel very special in celebrating this Mass of Christ the King, hearkening back to my own ordination and to the celebration of my first Mass, and to celebrate the ordination of Deacon Baron Pease, and then to celebrate the confirmation of young people at St. Stanislaus Basilica. It is a weekend that's truly filled with graces.
Bishop Rosansky says our mission continues even as the Holy Year ends.
A reminder to all of us that even though the Jubilee Year doors are closed, our hearts must never be closed to the mercy of God and the mercy that we show to others.
Taking that message to heart was parishioner David Vigno.
I try to be merciful to other people and more tolerant. Many people are tolerant with me. I have my glitches.
Bishop Rosansky says showing mercy to others will always be our challenge. I'm Kathy Harrington for Reel to Reel.
Also, the Pope said that there's no sin that God's mercy cannot reach and wipe away. Still to come on Reel to Reel, Dan Dumas with the latest news of happenings here in the Diocese of Springfield, and a hands-on Advent wreath-making experience gets some Ludlow parishioners thinking about the true meaning of this holiday season. These stories and more are still to come on Reel to Reel.
The Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection. I'm Passionist Brother Terrence Scanlon, your Chalice host. inviting you to join us on Sunday morning at 10. We welcome Father Frank Lawler as our Mass presider and celebrate together the second Sunday of Advent. The Chalice of Salvation, your spiritual connection, Sunday morning at 10, right here on 22 News.
Through your generosity, the annual Catholic Appeal continues to serve our community.
I am Andres Lopez. Catholic Latino Ministry offers pastoral services to families throughout Western Mass. We are there for people in need of God's mercy and love, all made possible through the annual Catholic Appeal.
The annual Catholic Appeal, assisting our neighbors here in Western Massachusetts. Visit diospringfield.org and make your donation today. Thank you for your support.
I spent 34 years as a teacher.
I just loved interacting with the students.
Many sisters, brothers, and religious order priests served for little pay, and now their communities lack retirement funds.
My very first class had 56 first graders.
Gifts to the Retirement Fund for Religious help provide for medications, nursing care, and more. Please give to those who have given a lifetime. Donate at your local parish.
God bless you for your help.
I'm Dan Dumas with your Reel-to-Reel News Brief. It was a much-anticipated groundbreaking back in November for the parish family of Mount Carmel in Springfield. Carolee McGrath reports.
It was a day of celebration as parishioners of Our Lady of Mount Carmel Parish gathered for a groundbreaking ceremony for a new parish center on William Street in Springfield. The parish center will be built on an open lot next to the church.
It's a great step towards the future, you know. We need to add some facilities since we sold the school, so we decided to build a parish center that will help organize and host and all of our social functions and also some religious education.
The new building will include a great room with seating for 200, offices for the deacon and religious education, and a kitchen. It will also be handicap accessible. The project is $2.2 million. The parish has already raised $1.7 million, which includes proceeds from the sale of the school and a $400,000 donation from a longtime parishioner.
We're very excited about the development of this particular project because it expands the offerings of Mount Carmel Church to the community, and it creates a presence that we hope will allow future generations to enjoy the many activities and the spiritual life that the church is able to provide.
Mount Carmel is located in Springfield's South End, right next to the MGM Springfield Casino project. The church, built by Italian immigrants in 1907, serves 900 families. Springfield Mayor Dominic Sarno is also a member of Mount Carmel.
This is my home parish. Baptized down here, I'm first generation. My parents came from Italy, surviving the Nazi occupation in World War II, and this is our parish. I love coming to 6 o'clock Mass on Sunday evening. You know, we come through a lot of trials and tribulations here with the tornado and other urban challenges, and we're moving forward in the city and South End. But again, Mount Carmel has been a very open and caring parish.
In 2007, during the church's centennial year, parishioners raised $1.7 million to renovate the inside of the church building. Father White added the parish center will not only be a new building, but a place to share Christ's love and mercy. In Springfield, I'm Carolee McGrath.
Meanwhile, over at St. Stanislaus School in Chicopee, students took time to honor local veterans recently. Steve Kiltonick was there and filed this report.
The presentation of the colors by the school's Boys and Girl Scouts opened the St. Stanislaus School Veterans Day Assembly held in the school gymnasium on November 10th. This marks the 20th year that the school has presented the annual event, and thanks to all veterans past and present who have served. In addition to the entire student body and many parents, attending were members of various Chicopee Veterans Associations, active duty and veterans from Westover Air Reserve Base, and for the first time, residents of the Soldiers' Home in Holyoke. The assembly is one of the most anticipated events of the year for students.
The children look forward to it. They are enthusiastic. They have made cards. They have written letters. In addition to the collection of things, they really want to show their appreciation.
Each year, the students offer something a little bit different for the veterans. 8th graders recited this classic World War I poem in Flanders Fields.
Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields.
Some yelled patriotic cheers,
Huzzah for free America!
while 5th graders brought back memories of the swing era with their song and dance. Students also offered prayers, scripture readings, and their own Veterans Day reflections. Anne-Marie Arduino and Luke Sarlin accompanied Sarah the fiddler on their violins, giving a stirring rendition of each service theme song. Arduino, whose grandfather served in Vietnam, said it's important to honor veterans.
You have to know that the freedoms that you have and all the rights that you have, they didn't just come out of nowhere. People died for those rights. We can't forget what they've done for us. It's our duty to remember them.
Students presented each veteran with a small gift and card. Personal care items were also collected by the school families. Bennett Walsh, superintendent of the Soldiers' Home, had nothing but praise for the school.
It really was inspiring. It made you proud to be not only a service member in any of the branches, but also just be an American, to see everyone just gathered together, taking time to honor our veterans.
Korean War vet Eugene Murphy thanked the kids for honoring his band of brothers.
Well, it shows the people who don't understand what the GIs went through, some of them, most do, but I feel that they give more respect for the flag.
Walsh said some vets became emotional when asked to stand to be honored for their service.
They realized that what they fought for many years ago, it's being passed on to the next generation, and for them, it means the world.
The entire assembly concluded singing God Bless the USA. From Chicopee, this is Steve Kiltonic.
Remember, you can always stay informed on all the happenings in the Catholic Church locally or beyond by logging on to our news and information website, iobserve.org. There you can read articles written by our Catholic communication staff, as well as view archived episodes of Reel to Reel. That's iobserve.org. I'm Din Dumas, and that's your Reel to Reel News Brief.
You are watching Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. Here again is your Reel to Reel host, Sharon Roulier.
Well, it was 4 days before Thanksgiving, but for parishioners of St. Elizabeth's in Ludlow, the talk was not of turkey, but wreaths. An event held at the parish hall put kids and parents in the Advent state of mind and got families thinking early about the true meaning of Christmas. Steve Kiltonic tells us more.
On November 20th, St. John the Baptist Pastoral Center in Ludlow was filled with the sights and sounds of the Christmas season. Children in St. Elizabeth's pre-K through 5th grade religious education program, along with their families, all gathered to revive an old Christmas classic, the making of Advent wreaths. The festive activity, a first for the parish, was held in lieu of that Sunday's religious education classes. According to Leslie Groh, one of the reasons the program was implemented is that the history and significance of Advent has slowly been lost over the years.
We've been noticing over the course of time that a lot of our families, CCD families, aren't aware of a lot of the traditions that we have in our church. And as a faith community, we decided that we'd like to bring some of these traditions back to the families. Even though in our CCD sessions we're teaching the children, we'd like to teach the family, so that mom, dad, grandma and grandpa, aunts and uncles, and the children all understand the history and the tradition of an Advent wreath, and then how to use it in our home consistently each week with the prayers that go back to our scriptures.
Each family received a paper bag filled with a pre-made faux green Advent wreath, along with the 4 Advent candles, prayer cards and sheets with 25 different names for Jesus. The names were cut out, glued, and chain linked together to be draped around the Christmas tree at home. The word Advent comes from the Latin adventus, meaning arrival or coming, particularly of something having great importance. Everyone learned that each candle represented a different aspect: hope, love, joy, and peace surrounding the coming of the light of Christ into the world.
This is not just a Catholic thing, it's all Christians can take away something from an Advent wreath. This is a great opportunity to have this in our homes and for families to just gather around and have the love of God in their home and have a representation of that.
The 2 morning sessions were held between Masses and included various prayers, scripture readings, and the singing of Christmas songs like the Advent song. Third grader Juliana Guadalupe led everyone in song by playing Away in the Manger. About 69 families answered the call to attend the event, and some parents who brought even their own parents got a bit nostalgic, saying the wreath-making brought back memories of their own childhood. Amanda Alvis enjoyed the wreath-making with her husband Tony and daughters Amelia and Eleanor.
I thought it was great. I thought all the families together, everybody singing was really nice. The piano playing was beautiful. Felt inviting and a good way to start a new tradition.
Sandy Pedro echoed Amanda's comments. She attended with husband John and sons Isaac and Noah.
It was wonderful to see how the community come together and everybody as a family starting a new tradition. And I learned a lot. My mother, every year, she did a wreath or a centerpiece with all the candles, and she told me the meaning of it, but I actually can't remember what the true meaning of each candle represented. So it was wonderful for me to learn it myself with my family.
It got pretty noisy in here, and I think it was pretty wonderful because it meant that people were interacting and talking, and there were people who were talking to people at the next table, and we were sharing scissors and we were sharing glue sticks, and so it really showed that we are a community.
There's already talk of making this a yearly tradition at St. Elizabeth's by focusing on other Advent traditions like the creche and the Jesse tree. For Reel to Reel, I'm Steve Kiltonic.
Very impressive. It appears word travels fast as Leslie and St. Elizabeth's Religious Ed Director Michelle Witowski appeared on WWLP TV 22's Mass Appeal program this past Wednesday, explaining all about the Advent wreath. Looks like they've become quite the experts in Advent wreaths. And you know it's not too late. You could still make your own Advent wreath. There is still time left in this Advent season. And for viewers of 22 News WWLP, don't forget that tomorrow at 3 p.m. is the Advent and Christmas Singing Priest Concert at Bellamy Middle School in Chicopee. There will be tickets available at the door, so it's not too late to plan on attending. And for this week, that's Reel to Reel. As always, to keep up to date on all of the latest news on the Catholic Church, both here and in the Diocese of Springfield and around the world, check out our news and information website, iobserve.org. Also, you can friend us on Facebook. We are at Catholic Communications. Our thanks to Father Yerrick Mendez and the folks right here at Our Lady of Guadalupe for hosting our show today. I will see you next week at this same time for another edition of Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. Enjoy your week.
Reel to Reel is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.